What is up, guys? Welcome to a new video. So we talk a lot about balance and changes on this channel, and to be honest, over this season I've kind of started to wonder about certain balance changes and stuff. Basically, Riot skin department, let's just say, has seriously stepped it up. In my opinion, they've released so many awesome skins this season, but especially a lot of the bigger and more expensive ones seem to kind of mirror balance changes. There is a meme that Riot balance champions around their skins to make more money, right? And I made a joke about it in a video that Ashe wouldn't get nerfed until after her new legendary skin release, and well, it actually happened like that. So today we're going to look properly at whether that's true or not. Now, I might be right, I might be wrong, who knows? I want you guys to make up your own minds and let me know in the comments of this what you think. And remember, as always, to like or dislike this video if you enjoy it or not. So I'm only going to look back at skins released in Season 6, but let's start with Project Ashe, seeing as that kind of joke is what made me look into this properly. And by the way, all of this footage you're seeing is from the Skin Spotlights channel, so thank you to him for letting me use it. So Project Ashe was released at the beginning of August, right? The 2nd of August, and for at least the past 3 months, maybe longer, she has dominated and been at the top of the AD carry role. Too strong, but not touched at all balance-wise, wasn't nerfed. The skin is released, everyone buys it, and then it's announced that she is going to get a nerf in 6.17 just afterwards. The dodgy thing to me is that everyone just bought this awesome new skin, and now after they have it, and after they paid their money, they announce that she's going to get a nerf. To be fair, they did say on their forums and boards, or whatever you want to call it, that she was in line for a nerf before, so it wasn't hidden, I guess. But how many people really read those forums? You didn't hide it, but a little bit weird, I think. By the way, even with the nerf, the skin is super sick. Riot did such a good job, and I love it, but that's not what we're looking at, right? Is whether they deliberately released a legendary skin for the most popular and strongest AD carry, let everyone buy it, and then nerf them after they have the people's money. So that was the first one that I looked at to kind of check it, and I guess you guys can agree with me probably that it looks a little bit suspect, so I dug back through other skins released in Season 6. Now, not all of these are going to fit with this at all. A lot are released for normal balance champions. They don't get buffed or nerfed straight after, so let me just make that clear, okay? This is not for everything. Saying that, I did find quite a few more though, which are expensive skins that did follow this trend as well. The first set after this was the Galaxy skins. These are actually the set of skins that made me wonder about this entire thing, though I didn't say anything at the time, and it was for Kindred and Fizz. Those are going to be the ones we're looking at. Kindred used to be the best jungler right in the game for a long time, literally dominated every game and was banned consistently, but slowly nerfed to the point where they just don't exist. Anyway, the Kindred skin was released at the end of May this year for 975 RP, and then the patch after it was released, we got the big nerfs that really kind of screwed Kindred. Actually, it's not just that one nerf, there was another set of nerfs 2 patches later, which is probably what actually killed the champion. So basically, the skin is released at the end of 6.10 and nerfed in 6.11, and then again nerfed in 6.13. That seems really weird. Kindred was nerfed kind of before repeatedly, but she still remained at the top. They weren't very big nerfs. The really heavy ones actually came after the skin was released, a little bit down and then really down after the skin had been out for 6 weeks. Well, maybe that is a coincidence, right? It could be, but what about the Fizz one? Fizz is 1350 this time, so even more expensive, and he came out at the same time, patch 6.10, and this, by the way, was the time when Fizz was played top lane as a bruiser. He was super popular, probably one of, if not the best top laner, and Fizz made it a little bit longer, but this might be actually even worse. So in 6.10, Fizz got the buff where his ultimate cannot be removed by cleanse or quicksilver sash. Quite a big buff actually, when that was this same patch this new skin got released. Then in 6.12, which was about 2 to 3 weeks after the skin got released, he got massive nerfs to his top lane play. W was nerfed, his E had the cooldown increase as well. Those were the nerfs that actually forced him out of the meta, by the way. So again, on its own it seems kind of normal, right? Make a skin for a popular champion, buff the same patch, it's just a coincidence, and then finally gets nerfed a few patches later because he is too strong. I think you guys can probably see the same as me now, and this is a little bit of a trend, a little too regular to just say it's random maybe. And remember, Riot are going to plan these things months and months in advance, so there is definitely the possibility that they can say, okay, we're going to buff and release the skin this patch, wait 2 patches, and then nerf him. Now, what about Arcade Ezreal though? Because this is the one recently I thought, actually, that's kind of strange. He's a very popular champion anyway, so no surprise at all that he's getting another skin, even though he already has 9 right now, way more than most champions. There is nothing wrong with making skins for popular champions though. It does make sense, especially from a business standpoint. But anyway, so Arcade Ezreal, which looks awesome, by the way, gets announced, and then Ezreal gets a buff the next patch as well, which is bound to make him more popular. I don't really think Ezreal needs a buff in the first place, if I'm honest, but sure, I guess you can kind of make a case for it. It just seemed a bit weird for me, you know? Maybe not for you, I don't know. The champion is popular anyway, people are playing him, people are going to buy the skin, but then they kind of buff him in the same patch that this skin gets released. Ahri is also included in this arcade one, and she's strong and popular as well, so there's no real surprise there, that's normal. Corki got one, and he is not strong though, so you can easily say that Riot don't do this for everyone. It's just whether they do do for some or not. You know, my biggest actually like Riot is really greedy moment has got to be these gemstones in Chester with the hex deck crafting. Like, I understand why they do it, it makes sense, but I don't like those skins costing so much to get. Now anyway, that's just personal opinion. It doesn't really matter. It's whether they were planned properly or not to get more money out of us. The Vayne one really made me wonder, because like, why Vayne in the first place? Like, she's popular for sure, I guess, but not very good. Like, she hasn't been that relevant in season 6 and people aren't even playing her as much as they used to. In my opinion, it would have made more sense to give it to someone that more people played this season right now, so that more people are playing it and they'd get more money surely. Well, anyway, that got released in 6.13 and there was a fair amount of hype for it, which makes sense. It's a very rare and cool skin as well. But then in 6.15, so 2 patches later, she gets a few buffs, and then again in 6.16 more buffs. It's a bit of a stretch, but then I thought about it a little bit more, because you cannot buy gemstones, right? You have to buy chests anyway, and it's like a random chance. Well, actually, during this kind of project event, which is running right now, by the way, straight after the Vayne buffs, you can actually buy gemstones by getting a chest bundle thing. That cannot surely be a coincidence. Like, for the first time ever, you make gemstones available to purchase directly, like guaranteed with these bundles, and they just buff Vayne, making more people want to play her and want that skin. Honestly, I don't know, maybe everything is a coincidence or random, but it seems very dodgy, like that one that she gets buffed 2 patches in a row just after a new skin, and at the exact time you can buy the stones needed for the skin. It is not that hard to see either though. That is the thing, like, the buffs are nice but nothing major. They don't fuck up the game or anything, so Riot can get away with it. They make her a little bit better, more people want to play her without ruining the game or making it obvious and unfair. And that is me being like a massive conspiracy theory guy, and I don't think all of that is true, but it's not impossible to believe after all of the others, right? Now I did check Hextech Annie as well. It's nowhere near the same kind of thing, but like released March 15th, which has 10 skins now, by the way, for Annie. It's an old champion, but still like way more than most. The rework to her was 6 weeks later, so they obviously knew that it was coming when they released the skin, but like I'm not sure that really would have made more people try to get her. Maybe, but I'm not really too sure about this one. This is kind of what I wanted to point out though. Riot plans this stuff months and months in advance, which means they can actually exactly line up when to release things. If they wanted to do this and balance the game for skins, they 100% could easily. It's just whether or not you think this stuff points to them actually doing it. There are a few extra that I found that made me wonder a little bit, but nothing like the others. So like Program Soraka, for example, released in 6.7, but her rework was in 6.5. That is the kind of rework that made her very, very strong, basically the best support, and it's not as major as others for sure, but kind of strange that after she gets like super strong and popular again directly by Riot with a rework, they introduce a new skin for her. The same thing with like Death Blossom Kha'Zix, but the other way around. So released on 17th of March, then buffed on the 23rd of March. Now these you could say are deliberate, but they are way more believable that it's just random and a coincidence, right? And I wanted to show you them deliberately so that you can see both sides, like why the others I've already talked about stand out way more to me. Now it's not always like that at all. There are tons of skins released that don't match this kind of pattern. Arcade Ari, for example, a super popular champion and makes sense that you want to buy a skin for her and make a skin for her. And let's see if she gets a buff soon actually. That'd be pretty funny if you buff her just after a new skin. Darkstar Thresh is a super cool skin as well, and Thresh is always strong, always like regularly at the top of the most played support, and that's just Riot being smart as a business, not being sketchy. Elderwood LeBlanc as well, not touched balance wise really around the launch, and she's very popular, plus an awesome skin as well, and LeBlanc is always popular. Mecha Cyan is a cool one because he was strong and popular, but because of the meta, not because Riot are forcing a change or buffing anything, so that's got nothing to do with them. There was one more that really stood out to me apart from that, that's kind of pretty sad, but nothing as quick or nothing to think like Riot are intentionally really doing it, like Championship Callista. This is seriously the only time I've actually ever wanted a refund from Riot, by the way, because they gave her the Championship skin for Season 5, released at the end of September when Callista was super strong and really popular. A ton of people bought this skin because it's really cool, and then about 5 months later, I think, they completely nerfed her into the ground and just left her there as well. This, I get, like, is not as suspect at all. I don't think Riot intended to twist anything or whatever like that. It's pretty lame that they get all this money from people buying the skin and then nerf them into the ground to become unplayable. But that is where we have to be careful with this video, though. This is not about becoming salty because you spent money and Riot nerfed the champion. It's about whether or not Riot are doing that on purpose, getting our money for skins and then nerfing champions straight after once they already have that money from us. Really, it's about competitive integrity versus money. That is what is like more important, right? The game being competitive or fair, or how Riot can maximize their income. Obviously, Riot is a business. They are there to make money. Like, they have to do it or they're not going to function. It's finding a balance of the two, but in my opinion, I don't think nerfs and buffs should ever be used to get more money from people. The reason I made this video is because this season especially, I'm starting to wonder whether sometimes it actually is being used for that, especially with something like Project Ashe, which is to me very obvious. So I've just presented you really these things for you to decide decide for yourselves. I don't want to tell you what to think, like it's up to you to make up your mind, but either way, it's pretty interesting, I think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video though. Let me know what you think, but for now, let's go to the robots.